Oh.
VentureVerse Legend of Ulora is a curious game that came by my inbox. While it may currently be in early access, there is definitely some potential here for fans of action-adventure titles, or surprisingly enough, fans of titles like Mario Maker or Little Big Planet. So, the game at the moment, like I just said, is in early access, and it ships with a general campaign. You play, of course, the nameless hero who must decide to save the land by going to dungeons, castles, fight monsters, solve puzzles, all that great stuff. And at the moment, the game is split between kind of two different forms of gameplay. You have this sort of overworld where you go around looking for the various castles, getting into random events, and buying and upgrading your gear. And then you go into the actual dungeons themselves, and this is where you'll run into various elements which are all handmade, and keep that in mind as we're going to come back to that in a second. As you go through each of the dungeons, your basic move set consists of essentially move. You have this kind of dash/dodge, a sword, and a magic staff, along with a shield. And that basically corresponds to your core movements that are going to be with you no matter what you play. As you explore, you may find additional items like a remote control and stuff like that. And one other thing you do get as kind of a pseudo spell is the ability to lift up fixed objects, or I should say, objects that have been set to be able to be moved. All those boxes that you're seeing around the environment, you can't do anything with them. But sometimes you'll run into an orb or a block that is used for puzzle solving that you can manipulate. And that will come into play with the game's various puzzles. As you go through, you'll find puzzles such as this one, where you have to get the right pattern by stepping on the tiles, to some that you'll see in a second that will involve conveyor belts, knowing which keys or switches to pull, and it gets very varied. Now, one thing that's very interesting about VentureVerse is that from a general moveset kind of design, it is very basic. Combat is of your, as you saw at the beginning, just stand still, whack an enemy with a sword. You can shoot out spells and stuff like that, but if you're expecting like Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, or Breath of the Wild style gameplay, you're not going to find it here. And that is a big part of VentureVerse's key marketing point. Now, as you can see right here, again, the rooms themselves are set up in this kind of blueprint design, and that is because the game features a complete editor that allows you to create your own dungeons. And I didn't have a chance to check it out too much. It is very involved, but it looks like you are given free reign, like we said earlier with games like Mario Maker or Little Big Planet. So all these puzzles that you've seen, all the combat situations we put into this video so far, that is all stuff that you can actually make on your own. And that is definitely a strong marketing point for VentureVerse. Now, at this moment, because the game is in early access, there aren't a lot of dungeons to really check out, but the game comes complete with full Steam Workshop integration. So there is definitely potential here for this game to go places. Now, with that said though, I do have a few reservations. Like I said, the basic core gameplay loop is on the simple or the simplified side, and that is to accommodate for anyone to design various puzzles and stuff like that. I found the controls to be a little bit funky with the keyboard and mouse, a little bit button heavy, but you can also play this with a gamepad, and I found it to be easier except for, ironically enough or strangely enough, dodging. Now, one thing that you're seeing right here that I want to also point out, the game features a persistence system that it kind of is a little bit weird. You level up, which unlocks additional chests, which you can then use to either get dyes for your clothing or to spend in-game currency to buy new armor, repair your stuff, things along those lines. But at the moment, I'm not sure just how involved that's really going to be. Now, you can also find medals in every level, or at least in the preset campaign, that can be used to enhance your stats, but they are completely hidden. So I'm not sure if people are going to like how cumbersome it can be to have long-term progression, or whether or not that's even going to be needed for this game. From what I've played so far, it is very generous in terms of giving you health and not really putting in crazy situations. Again, if you're expecting God of War level combat or Dark Souls death traps, you're not going to find that in VentureVerse. But with that said, again, the game is in early access and it went in as of August. So they've said they're hoping to get this out sometime in 2019. And that still gives them plenty of time to expand things and see what they want to do in terms of balance. Even though the game is, again, on the simplified side right now, there is certainly potential, especially if people take to the editor. I can certainly imagine maybe somebody making that Dark Souls style dungeon for this game. But with that said, we're going to wrap up this first look here. If you want to check it out while it is on early access, you can buy it on Steam now. And I would like to thank developers for giving me a press key to check out. If you'd like me to look at your game in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch. But with that said, be sure to check back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Once again, this has been VentureVerse, Legend of Ulora. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But until our next video, have a great day. Before we get to the credits, just a quick shout out to the supporters over on patreon.com/GWBycer. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check back for our regular streaming, most nights at 9:30, 10 EST, and you'll find a schedule linked down below. For a collection of my writings as well as audio casts on design, you'll find that at game-wisdom.com. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at GWBycer. If you're interested in hanging out and talking about game design topics, we have a Discord channel with the basic tier open to everybody, and that is linked down below as well. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, it is at patreon.com/GWBycer. Your support can help to keep things going and growing, and you can earn rewards such as ad-free versions of our talks, votings for our specific Let's Plays and grab bag streams, and more. But that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. I hope you come back for more great discussions on design here and on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games.